Hello students, Mr. Young here. We are not going to have a test for Chapter 8. Instead, we're going to do a small project. It's essentially a current events assignment. Let's go over it. So for this chapter, we learned all about the Constitution. For your assignment, I want you to find a news article and write me a summary of what the article is about and how it relates to something we learned in Chapter 8. Here's a hint. Look in the politics section of any newspaper or news website, and you should find something easily relatable to anything Constitution. So, a lot of the news might go over your head. It's written for adults and, not for middle schoolers. So if I were you, I'd pick an article that you understand, and you can even loosely tie it to what we learned in Chapter 8. I'll give you full points. For example, there are about 1 billion articles on the presidential election right now. At this point, it should be over, unless you're working very far ahead. So there should be plenty on that, and that would be easy to tie to the Constitution, because we talked all about how the president is part of the executive branch and what the job of the executive branch is. You could even probably tie it to being an informed citizen and things like that. This is a submission type assignment, so a paper. This is a paper essentially. And here's what I want to see in this paper. 2 paragraphs. The first paragraph will be your summary of the article. The second paragraph should be an explanation of how this article ties to something we learned in Chapter 8. Also, and this is important, please provide me a link to the article that you chose to write about. If it's an actual newspaper article, you can take a picture of it or something. Just make sure I get some kind of citation. You could tell me that you got it in the, November 11th edition of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Just let me know where it came from. I think probably 99% of you will just use a website, and then you could just put the link in your paper. I'm actually going to put an example right here linked. Here it is. By Yundo von Smartypants. Chapter 8 Wrap Up, American Nation. So I read an article on CNN.com that is called 6 Ways Trump Can Win 270 Electoral Votes. It is an article describing the 6 different ways Trump can win the presidential election. Each state is worth a number of points, and he needs to win certain states like Ohio and Pennsylvania in order to beat Hillary Clinton. It also goes on to talk about Trump having to not say anything offensive between now and Election Day in order to win those key states. Okay, so there's my summary right here, first paragraph. Now, how does this tie to the chapter? That's my second paragraph. This article is related to what we learned in Chapter 8 because the Constitution clearly outlines the executive branch and how it is run by the president. Whoever wins this election will be the person to ensure that the laws of our country are enforced. Second paragraph, and then here's the link for the article. Now, there's our example. Here are some links for news websites. Now, this little project is due tomorrow, which is Friday, November 18th. That gives you today, the 17th, and the 18th to work on this. That's 2 days. You can even work on it over the weekend if you need to. And then you can have it in, turn it in by Monday morning, and then you can do Monday's assignment. So you should have plenty of time to do this. I won't take away points for tardiness or late work. The next page in the module will be the submission page. So let's go ahead and check out that submission page. This is where you're going to actually turn the paper in. It is dated for the 18th. So here it is. All it says, here's where you'll submit your Chapter 8 current events assignment. Be sure to take a look at the rubric to make sure you have followed all directions and score 100%. Feel free to contact me with any questions. Here's the rubric. You'll see here, if the article is summarized, that's your first paragraph, you get 5 points. If it is tied to the chapter, that is the second paragraph, it's 5 more points. Did you link the article to the assignment? That's worth 5 points. And then there's one here for grammar and spelling. So make sure you proofread your work. That makes this assignment worth a total of 20 points. So basically your first paragraph is worth 5, second paragraph worth 5, grammar and spelling 5, and a link to the article worth 5. That's it. You'll submit it. There'll be a little submission thing up here for the student version of this site. So that's it. Have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, it should be pretty easy for you to find articles in any political section of a newspaper or website and be able to tie it to the Constitution. Alright, hey, have a wonderful day.